Is the Rams game a real barometer for Rizzi? This is going to be one of the biggest matchups he's had so far in his time as interim head coach. Rams, they took a loss last night, but it was to the Eagles, big-time team, playoff team. So if the Rams find a way to come down here and give a fight, can Rizzi coach the Saints over the top?
I mean, first of all, Saquon looks insane right now.
Yeah.
Like, you got him on a good team with a good line. Like, it's crazy right now. I was trying to think about it and think if, like, any of that stuff translates to the Saints and their ability to maybe run on them, and maybe a little bit. But, I mean, that Philly team is, like, just on a different level. I mean, the fact that the Saints turned that game into a rock fight, like, that's kind of even like more impressive as time goes on.
They only gave up one 65-yard run to Saquon.
I kind of felt like at the time that Philly might end up being the best team in the NFC. Obviously, I think it's Detroit, but like they're right there, right behind it, and he's been a great piece for them. Yeah, I mean, but this one, if Rizzi's going to make a case and he's going to try to win this job over the rest of the season, I think this is a game he has to win. Like, you have to, and they're a losing team right now. They aren't even a good team, but like it would be a quality win against a team with a losing record. I think we all agree they're probably a little bit better than 5-6. They had some injuries, all that stuff. Like that's still a good team. Very, very weird division right now out there in the NFC. Like, they're 5-6, and I think the first place teams are 6-5. Yeah. So I mean, they're still very much in it. They have a lot to play for, and just being able to beat them, I think that's something that he has to have on his resume. Like, he can't just get there beating the Raiders and the Giants. Like, you got to beat them. The Commanders are somebody that I kind of got in that Fugazi watch. Like, they showed it again this week. Couldn't beat a winning team.
Cooper Rush.
I'm sorry, they couldn't beat a losing team. Like, they only have one win against a team with a winning record. So they're a little bit questionable at this point too. But like, I think if Rizzi's going to get this job, like, he needs to beat the Rams. He's probably needs to beat the Commanders, and you can lose to the Packers if you beat both them, and maybe you still have a chance. But you need to win 2 out of those 3. I think this is one you have to get, because I don't think you're going to go into Green Bay and beat the Packers. Like, I think that's out of the question. I think this is going to be a really hard game for him to win, but you got to win some of these games and have some quality feelings on your resume if you're going to be the head coach.
A couple different things. Talk about this matchup in a second, but honest question, like, because I tend to agree with what you said, but do we still feel like 6-2 overall? If Rizzi goes 6-2 overall, he could like potentially get the job, because that would mean if you don't beat the Rams, lose to the Packers, you have to beat Washington, you have to win at Tampa Bay in the last game of the season. And frankly, that's one of the tougher teams on their schedule too. I think that might be the must for the good vibes at the end of the season, for the whatever it means for placement in the division. Could be knocking Tampa Bay out of the playoffs. That one might be important, but so in theory, I think if they lost to the Rams, lost to the Packers, and won all the rest, and he finished 6-2, it would feel a little empty to go 6-2 without a ton of quality wins. But do you think that would be enough?
No. I think you gotta have some good wins. It's a head coaching job in the NFL. Like, you aren't getting there by beating the Raiders. Like, you have to actually like show some. I'm saying
Washington
change.
and Tampa would become your 2 most quality wins then.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but I think you gotta.
Really close,
I don't think you can just have like cupcake wins. Like, I don't know, the Commanders it would be a good win. The Bucs really aren't that good of a team, are they? Like, it's not like you don't beat the Bucs and I'm like, damn, that guy.
I know.
You have to win some good games. And the way
I just kind of think that's a realistic scenario, and so I'm wondering, what if he goes 6-2?
For this team, it might be, but
the losses are
not.
the Rams and the Packers. Yeah,
I would hope not. I mean, but like, I think you gotta, like, winning this game would go a long way toward it. They're 5-6 right now, but you saw how they just absolutely shattered them last year. The defense was completely unprepared for that game. If you come in, you make it look different, and you win the game, that's something that you can hold up at the end of the year. And you're sitting at that podium, and you're Mickey Loomis, and you're like, he beat the Rams. Like, he did that against the Rams.
Right.
I don't think you can go up there and be like, he beat the Raiders, he beat the Giants, he beat the Bucs.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
We didn't go get Ben Johnson because, damn it, he beat the Bucs. Yeah. Like, I don't think that's enough.
No, you said cut it out.
We could be talking about it a lot. I mean, like, if you pick the games the Saints are favored to win, and the games, I don't know what the spread is on this after the Rams looked a little disappointing last week. We should probably figure that out. But yeah, like, if it's possible that they win the 6 games they're supposed to win and lose the 2 they're not supposed to, and I just it would make for a very fascinating discussion. But I completely agree, this would help put them over the top. Now, the interesting thing about the Rams is they looked terrible on both lines last night. Their offensive line. Like, they couldn't protect Matthew Stafford for 10 seconds last night, it felt like.
Yeah.
Or 2 seconds, I was going to say. So not only were they getting run over, but it makes me wonder if the Saints' defensive line can win a matchup against this team. We haven't been super impressed by their pass rush, but they have had 3 sacks in each of the last 2 games. So if the Saints can win this at both lines of the scrimmage, they can absolutely win it. But yeah, the big question mark to me is the one we saw last year when they could not stop Puka Nacua, they could not stop Matthew Stafford.
Right.
They got a healthy Cooper Kupp involved, and they've got Alontae Taylor and Kool-Aid McKinstry and Ugo Amadi, unless they make any changes back there, who haven't been killing it in the 2-game win streak. So their ability to stop this team's passing attack, to stop this team's offense is absolutely paramount in this matchup. And we haven't seen them do something like that yet. So it would be telling us a lot if they're able to.
So they get to the end of the year. Let's say. I mean, I'm kind of treating the Rams like they have a winning record. They have a losing record.
Yeah,
it
feels like it'd be a
winning
win.
team.
Yeah.
But like, if they win all those games and they lose to the Commanders and Packers, like you're like, yeah, give them the job.
No, I'm not saying give him the job. I'm saying we said in theory.
No, I'm asking you though. Like say he loses all those, wins all the games and loses to the 2 teams, the Commanders and the Packers.
I actually think the Rams and the Packers are the 2 best teams, and maybe the Buccaneers, because I'm very dubious on the Commanders. But yes, if their 2 losses are, I would say if the 2 losses are Commanders Packers or the 2 losses are Rams Packers, it's kind of even. Like, I think Rams and Commanders are pretty even. And if he goes 6-2, and that would mean winning the last 2 games, winning in Tampa, finishing 6-2. I would say he's the guy to beat. I don't know if that's enough.
What if Tampa's like a 6-win
enough.
team? You know what I mean?
I know. I don't know.
Yeah,
but if he goes 6-2, and the only 2 losses are Rams and Packers or Commanders and Packers, it's so tough to say. I mean, he can't be worse than 6-2. He has to be at least 6-2. I think that makes it a tie. Like, I think that gives him a 50-50 shot at the job. What about you?
I just think he has to beat somebody, or it kind of feels like Indiana football a little bit.
Hollow.
A little bit. Like I think you have to beat one of, and I think you got to get 2 of them, honestly. Like, and I don't treat the Bucs like they're a good team. Like, I just don't, like, they're really injured. They're 5-6.
I think that Bucs team, I mean, they were up 30-0 yesterday. I think that Bucs team I actually think they're going to win the NFC South this year, or be mathematically alive for the NFC South going into Week 18, which is why I think it might be a meaningful win. But yeah.
I don't put a lot of value in any NFC South win.
Exactly,
I mean, it's just kind of, I don't know. Like, I think you got to beat some of them teams. To me, I don't know. I guess we'll see what it looks like though at the end of the year. It's possible you have a 6-2 and it feels like a good 6-2, but.
Well, the inverse is funny. So if you don't have the quality wins, that means you've lost at the Giants or you lost home to the Raiders. So it's making me think he almost has to go 7-1 to win this job. 6-2 makes it 50-50 though, I think.
Like, for me, like, just for me to be able to, like, sit here at the end of the year, like, I don't know. Like I said, like, we could watch it and it could feel different at the end. But like right now today, if you ask me, okay, what does it take for you to sit here at the end of the year and be like, Darren Rizzi has to get this job? I got to see him beat two of the 3, I think. Yeah. I got to see him beat 2 of the 3. Like I said, I'm not putting weight on the Bucs. Like, to me, it feels like if you're going to get the job, you have to be able to beat the Bucs. You got to be able to beat the Giants. You got to be able to beat the Raiders. And I want to see, I mean, look, the bar's like really high here. Like, it's a head coaching job in the NFL.
Yeah,
just for me to sit here and be like, he has to get the job. Now, could you go 6-2 and it's like, the candidates aren't that great? Yeah, I guess I kind of like Rizzi more than these guys. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, for me to be like, they absolutely have to give him this job. Like, I gotta see something that makes me feel like, okay, damn, like this is insane. Otherwise, I'm gonna just kind of be like, all right, yeah, we'll see. Like, whoever they are, it's cool. Like, we'll see what they look like in the job. But beating the Browns, Falcons, Giants, Raiders.
That's why we kept talking about how this team could win 10 games if they could get their act together. The schedule, and the Rams at home and Commanders at home looked a lot tougher a couple weeks ago. Those are 2 teams that are kind of have their arrows pointing in a different direction right now.
Now, if he gets this one, and you're talking about them with like 4 wins, like that's some insane momentum. Like, if you can get 4 in a row, like at that point, I think you can be one of the next to the Commanders or the Packers. Like, you really get rolling like that. if you get this one, like I think there's something though. Like I think there's
not a
something.
game. There's not a game on this schedule that I don't think they could win individually. I just don't. He's going to have to show that he has created a level of consistency that we haven't seen in 4 years.
I would
the
say
Packers game seems kind of
to me that one's almost 0%. Yeah, like almost 0%. Going in there like in the snow, December, really good team. I almost feel I'm scared of that one.
Sure,
I'm scared
that's
of that
definitely
one.
the toughest one.
It's like 1 year, like, all right, I kind of figured that, when it comes down to that. But even with the Rams, this is a team championship DNA still in there between Stafford and I don't know, McVay, the head coach. I don't know why I blanked on his name right quick, but you don't want to be that, we got to get right on them type of team. They lost in prime time to the Eagles, a very good playoff team that, like you said, maybe in that Super Bowl NFC conversation, you don't want them to come down here because Stafford is still playing good ball. He's still playing really good ball. He fed Nakua 9 times last night for like 117. You don't want to be getting exposed coming out of the bye week and just getting beat over the head by a team that's like, okay, we're going to get right going into the end of the season to help recapture our division and everything like that. So the Saints, they need to don't let the bye week be known as they laxed off a little bit. And now they got to try to get back right going into New York. Because is that really a matchup that you want to have pride in and say, oh, yeah, we beat the Giants with Tommy DeVito? You did that last year, and it didn't really mean anything. So
that is interesting how you talk about how they have to come off the bye week. Like sometimes the bye week is really good, but it kind of feels like the Saints fell in love on vacation the last 2 weeks, and now they're coming back home and seeing if the relationship can last now that they're going back to work.
Yeah, like they really need to win this game. Like you had the whole week to prepare for it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it, like changing up the schedule, like feels kind of crazy to me a little bit, like taking it out of the routine. Like I know it's Thanksgiving, but like you're trying to flow into a season. Like if you're gonna have the bye week and then you're gonna do that, like you need to win this game. Otherwise, like stuff's gonna be up for question. So if you're changing up, you're trying to get a job. Like I think that's really good to get buy-in with your team and everything. And maybe you can get your work done and all that stuff. Like it might work fine, but like I just really think it's important for them to win this game.
By the way, the Rams, they lost to Miami at home a couple weeks ago. Barely won at New England last week, which is not a great team. Lost pretty convincingly to Philadelphia. After New Orleans, they got Buffalo, at San Francisco on a Thursday night right after that, at the Jets, Arizona, Seattle. Like you said, the get right. The Rams are probably looking at this as like the one they got to get on their schedule for the rest of the year. They got a tough road coming up.